When you think of Machu Picchu, this is probably the image that comes to mind, right? This mystical city, sitting on a mountain ridge, lost to time for centuries. It's an absolute icon, a wonder of the world. But the story that we all think we know, well, it might not be the whole story. So let's dive in and separate the facts from the fantasy. For as long as I can remember, it's been called the Lost City of the Incas. It's a powerful, super romantic idea. But what if I told you it was never actually a city? And get this, what if it was never really lost? And that question right there changes absolutely everything. I mean, if you strip away that lost city label, what are we really looking at? The answer, it turns out, is just as incredible. Okay, so here's the big reveal. Machu Picchu wasn't some bustling metropolis. Nope. You should think of it more like a luxurious royal getaway, kind of like a Camp David for the Andes, built around 1450 for the powerful Inca Emperor Pachacuti. It was a place for royalty to relax, to worship, and even to govern, but far away from the busy capital. Now, what's really striking is just how short-lived this magnificent place was. I mean, look at this timeline. It was only really in its prime for about a century. Then, around the 1530s, right in the middle of the chaos of the Spanish conquest, it was just abandoned. A short but pretty brilliant life. All right, so if it wasn't a city packed with ordinary people, then who were the folks calling this incredible place home? We know the emperor and his court were only there part-time, seasonally. So who kept the lights on the rest of the year? Well, our best guess is that the permanent population was only around 750 people. Now, that's a really tiny number for a city, right? But it's actually the perfect size for a dedicated, year-round support staff. These residents had a specific name. They were known as Yanacanas. These were the absolute essential personnel. We're talking skilled artisans, expert farmers who worked those incredible terraces, servants, basically the people who made this whole royal estate tick. But here's the interesting part. They weren't from the local area. And this is where the story gets really amazing. Modern science, specifically skeletal analysis, has revealed that these Yanaconas were an incredibly diverse, multicultural community. I mean, these people came from all corners of the massive Inca Empire, from the coast, the high Andes, even the Amazon jungle. They had different diets, different life experiences, yet they all lived, worked, and were even buried together as a single community, a true global village in the clouds. Okay, so this brings us to that second big myth. If a whole community of people lived there, and local farmers knew about the ruins for centuries, how did it ever get lost in the first place? Well, the truth is, it was only ever lost to the outside world. Just look at this. This is proof. When the famous American academic Hiram Bingham showed up in 1911, he found this written in charcoal on a wall inside the Temple of the Three Windows. It says, A. Lizarraga, 1902. He wasn't the first one there. A Peruvian explorer had already visited nearly a decade earlier. So you really have two key figures in the story. You've got Agustin Lizarraga, a Peruvian local who was the first modern person to find it. And then you have Hiram Bingham, the Yale academic who was, let's say, its publicist. He was the one who really understood its importance and revealed it to the rest of the planet. And Bingham himself was pretty clear about his role. In a letter from 1922, he wrote this. He basically argued that, yeah, other people might have gotten there first, but he was the one who made its existence known to the wider world, drawing a direct parallel to Columbus in America. And to be fair to Bingham, what he and his team accomplished was incredible. I mean, just look at these photos. You can see the site as he first found it, almost completely swallowed by the jungle, and then you see it after his team did all the clearing work. He literally uncovered it, transforming this hidden ruin into the global icon we recognize today. Now, his expeditions also removed thousands of artifacts, pottery, tools, all kinds of things, and took them to Yale for study. This, as you can imagine, became a huge point of controversy for nearly a century. But after a very long back and forth, the artifacts were finally returned to Peru, and you can see them today in a museum in Cusco. So, Bingham's work absolutely put Machu Picchu on the world map, but its story was far from over. Today, it's UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the new 7 wonders of the world, and its biggest threat isn't being forgotten anymore. It's being loved to death. Get this. In 2024 alone, more than 1.5 million tourists visited the site. Just think about that for a second. That's 1.5 million people walking on stones that are over 600 years old. And this chart just shows you how wild it's gotten. The number of visitors has quadrupled, 4 times higher since the year 2000. Now, this explosion in tourism brings a ton of money to the region, which is great, but it also puts an immense, almost unsustainable amount of pressure on the site itself. So, of course, officials are trying to manage the crowds. They've put daily visitor limits in place, but as you can see, those limits have had to keep going up over the years. In 2024, the daily cap is 4,500 people, but that can jump to over 5,500 during the busiest months. It is a constant, difficult balancing act between access and preservation. And that really leaves us with the ultimate question for Machu Picchu's future. The place that was once a secluded retreat for a single emperor is now a bucket list destination for the entire world. And the challenge now is just, how do we protect this irreplaceable piece of our shared human history from the very love that could end up destroying it?